Hello! Welcome back to the That Just Clicked podcast. Today, we are talking about
JonBenet Ramsey.
JonBenet Ramsey, an American child beauty queen, was tragically taken from her family December 25th of 1996 at a young age of 6. At the time, the Ramsey family, consisting of John Ramsey, the father, Patsy Ramsey, the mother, Burke Ramsey, JonBenet's older brother who was 9 at the time of her death, and JonBenet Ramsey, a 6-year-old daughter of the house. According to the statements given by Patsy Ramsey on December 26, 1996, she realized that her daughter had gone missing after she found a 2.5-page ransom note left on the family's kitchen staircase.
So,
2.5 pages.
I mean, it's not funny, but it's really funny to me that she didn't know that her daughter was missing until she found the note, and then she was like, hold on a second.
She found it in the morning.
Yeah, but
okay, imagine this. You wake up in the morning, you go down, you're gonna, make coffee.
In the morning,
feeling like Pete did. Oh my gosh, Diary of a Wimpy Kid Man. Kid Man. I just said kid man. I guess it could make sense, because it was really early in the morning. Mm-hmm. If she was like, oh, I'll just go downstairs, have some breakfast, make some coffee, because it was the kitchen staircase. I mean, if she went down that staircase and found it.
It makes sense to me. It's just, imagining that is so funny when she reads the note and she's like, hold on a second, where's my daughter?
In the note was a demand of $118,000, an amount that John told the police was nearly identical to the Christmas bonus he had gotten the prior year. That makes it seem like it could either be someone he works with, or someone who had access to that information, or himself.
Or okay, so he said nearly identical. How identical are we talking?
Well, it could have been a matter of hundreds or 20s or something that was different. Because I feel like that number is a roundup. If someone got... Okay, I feel like they had a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
And if he was a millionaire, and let's say he got a 5% bonus, right? That could be a weird number. But if this was just a number rounded, because if it said the exact number, that would be way too obvious.
Yeah, but I mean, he said nearly identical. What if, he didn't say by how much, so what if his was 16 and then this was 18? That's not necessarily the same thing.
Well, no, but it's kind of a number that's really specific, I guess. That's such a weird number, because why wouldn't you be 200,000 or 150,000? I don't understand why you would have such a weird number. Unless you owed someone something.
Yeah.
This suggested that someone with that information had been linked to the crime. According to the FBI, the ransom note left at the scene of the crime was unusually long for a note that was written in the crime scene. This led the police to believe that the note had been staged, as the only fingerprints found on the note were those of Patsy, as well as the authorities. Why were they not wearing gloves picking up this note? Obviously, it's a great piece of evidence,
They're oh, what is this, a grocery list? And they're oh no!
I don't understand. Okay, Patsy Ramsey, for example. I understand that she's what is this? Picks it up, not thinking anything of it. But I don't understand why the police...
in this case, the criminal writing it was more intelligent than the police, because he was wearing gloves.
The note also included a strange use of exclamation marks and initialisms.
It makes it sound too, cartoony.
Yes, exactly, as if the note had been staged. The note, as well as a practice draft, were found to have been written with a pen and pad of paper from inside the Ramsey home. Baden, a board-certified forensic analyst, said that he had never seen a note like it within his 60 years of experience, and that the note did not appear to have been written by a stranger after he consulted both sides of the case. If he's had 60 years of experience, I feel like he would know. His stuff,
he's come across some idiots in his time.
And this is one... if he says he's never come across a note like it, that means there's really something wrong with that note. How... why can't you just write a normal note? You're already kidnapping someone. The night of JonBenet's death, only immediate family was known to have been in the house. The note found contained very specific instructions, including not to contact the police or friends. See, that's kind of normal. Being you have to... it's normal for a ransom note, to be you have to pay this amount of money, don't tell the police. I feel like that's a basic ransom note.
Ransom Note 101 right there.
That's what we'll call this. Ransom Note 101. Can we rename our podcast? Ransom Note 101. However, at 5:52 a.m., Patsy called the police, as well as family and friends. 2 officers arrived at the home within 3 minutes of the call. They must have had a police station really close by, because that's weird. They searched the home and found no sign of forced entry. One of the officers, Rick French, went to the family's basement door, saw that it was secured by a wooden latch, and walked away without going in. That's so stupid. Like, it's a wooden latch, he could open it, and if it was a lock or anything, he could ask for the key.
Imagine being a trained policeman looking at a door that's closed that could have a murdered child in it, and you're just like,
because every inch of that house needs to be searched.
Yeah.
You know? And secured. I don't know why they were so bad at that.
They're just bad at everything.
While JonBenet was missing, John arranged to pay the ransom. A forensic team was dispatched to the house and initially believed that JonBenet had been kidnapped. The only place in the house to be blocked off out of preservation of evidence was JonBenet's bedroom. The rest of the house had no precautions taken.
These idiots.
Because obviously he didn't just spawn in the bedroom.
He just appears. He's like, I'm a teleporter.
Yeah, that's not how that... Like, I don't understand why they wouldn't... Because obviously he went through the house, especially because the stationery, he had to have gone into, like, the office or wherever and get it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I feel he probably spent the least amount of time in that bedroom.
Yeah.
Because he had to do so many other things.
Friends as well as the family's minister came to the scene. Victim advocates also arrived. What? That's not necessary.
Okay, so if they were, like, trying to find her...
Yeah.
Like, obviously it makes sense to try to find her, but it's not like she's gonna be just, like, wandering around. Like, someone took her, and she's, like, in someone's possession. So I don't know what they think they're gonna, like, do.
The visitors within the house touched and cleaned items and surfaces in the house. Why would they do that?
There's not a single reason for that.
Well, I don't understand why people needed to even be there. There was no attempt by anyone to claim the ransom money. At 1 p.m., Detective Linda Arndt asked John and
Fleetwood Mac,
a friend of the family, to search the house again. Their search started in the basement. When John opened the door, he found the body of his daughter. JonBenet was found on the floor of the basement, bound at the wrist and neck with a nylon cord. Her torso was covered by a white blanket, and her mouth was covered in duct tape. Doesn't that just kind of make it seem... Like, the white blanket, I feel, makes it... It makes it seem like someone she knew, or someone who was fond of her, killed her. Because there's no reason a dead body would need a blanket over it. Especially, I mean, like, at the crime scene, unless it was, like, by a police officer or something. That just shows that they had some connection or, affection towards her.
Yeah, and they were, like, remorseful.
John Ramsey picked up JonBenet and took her upstairs, further contaminating the crime scene. Every member of the Ramsey family provided blood, hair, and handwriting samples for the police. Each member was also interviewed within the week. Vaginal injury had been found, and the pathologist noted that her vaginal area looked to have been cleaned with a cloth. No semen was found, and her death was ruled a homicide. I feel like the reason no semen was found is because they cleaned it with a cloth. Pineapple was found to have been eaten by JonBenet just hours before her death. However, neither John or Patsy could recall giving their daughter pineapple.
It's weird to me that just the fact that it was pineapple is sketchy. Like, pineapples are suspicious, you know what I mean?
Well...
Tell me I'm wrong.
Okay. Pictures of the home from that day showed a bowl of pineapple and a spoon on the kitchen table. Burke Ramsey's fingerprints were found on the bowl. That's not really damning to me.
Yeah.
Because he lived in the house, he could have touched the bowl anytime. Also, what if he just got her pineapple?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't actually mean something unless... I feel like that evidence doesn't lead anywhere.
Yeah, like, it's kind of weird, but I don't think it's necessarily, like...
Well, yeah, because what if she was like, I'm hungry, and then the parents weren't around, and he was like, okay, I'll get you pineapple.
Yeah.
Like, he could have eaten pineapple, too.
Yeah, he was like, snack time!
A paintbrush owned by Patsy was found to have been used to tighten the cord used to strangle JonBenet. That means that they also went wherever she painted.
Yeah.
Like, they really went around that house.
Where she painted. Well, I mean, maybe she painted in the basement. Maybe her basement was, like, like
or
her
The
studio.
Office. DNA on JonBenet's underwear and pajamas were both linked to the same unknown man. This DNA was not registered in the FBI crime database. 2 unknown sets of footprints were left at the scene, as well as a rope near the window of JonBenet, not recognized or owned by the Ramseys. No footsteps were left in the snow outside. That doesn't really mean anything, because if, like, something happened at, like, 2 a.m., right, and it kept snowing until, like, 4, that could have easily been covered up. The note was far too detailed and descriptive as well to be a regular note. Like, they included what kind of people they were, all sorts of random stuff, their affiliations, like, no one cares. Why would they? It doesn't have to be 2.5 pages. Also, that would be, if it was true, it would, what?
That'd be, like, way more time spent inside,
Oh,
too,
yeah, but also, like, why would you give them a clue as to who you were?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was definitely staged. Now, on to the suspects. The first suspect of the case is Patsy Ramsey.
Oh.
A lot of theories about Patsy point to her having done it on accident. There's also a question of if Burke Ramsey, her older brother, had done it. Now on to the first suspect outside of the family. Bill McReynolds. Bill McReynolds was an old man who had visited the house only 2 days before the murder. Every year, this man dressed up as Santa Claus, and JonBenet would have visits with this man dressed as Santa Claus. His own daughter had been kidnapped in 1974. His wife also wrote a play about a child getting molested and killed in a basement. Isn't that a little... That's a little too,
I mean, it's weird, but also, like, if their daughter was kidnapped, like, it could just be that it was...
Oh, like, she was really thinking about the possibilities of what happened to her daughter.
Yeah, because, like, if their daughter was kidnapped and never found, that's a very real possibility that happened.
In an interview with the Denver Post, McReynolds stated, "Her murder was harder on me than my operation. She made a profound change in me."
I don't like this guy.
While we're talking about his operation, he brought a vial of glitter that JonBenet had given him into his heart surgery. It's said that he has stated the vial of glitter meant a lot to him because no child had ever given him a present while he was dressed as Santa before. That's still really creepy. I mean, I understand keeping it.
Yeah, it's like a really sweet thing for him to be like, I'm Santa Claus, I give all these children these gifts, and then one of them brings one, like, to me. Like, I see how that's, like, sweet, but I feel like it started out as just a, like, oh, that's so nice, and then he became, like, obsessive about it.
Yeah, I think he could have related her to his daughter, because they could have been at similar ages, I guess. Yeah. But it's kind of a little too much.
I feel like it started out as, like, this sweet thing that was a nice gesture, and then he just, like, became obsessive over it, and then he started, like, twisting it in his head, and then he was like, I have to kill her.
Do you want to hear the worst part about it? He asked his wife to mix the vial of glitter with his ashes when he died. John Mark Karr. John Mark Karr was a divorced father and elementary school teacher. Karr became a suspect a decade after the murder. He confessed over email to a journalist professor named Michael Tracy, who had been talking to him for 4 years to gain his trust.
That's dedication right there.
Yeah, I know. What journalism? Like, he should have an award or something. Yeah. This is a quote by Tracy. "You are reading and hearing a truly dark side of the human psyche, and having to pretend that it's okay, that I wasn't going to sit in judgment, because otherwise the communication would have stopped. This was the worst experience of my life by far. It was horrible," unquote. In the emails, Karr also used similar wording as found in the ransom note. He also used Patsy's mother's nickname, which was Nettie. Why would he know that?
Yeah, that's where it gets... Because also, like...
Unless he was stalking them, or like, obsessed with the case, but
Nettie
he could have been stalking
isn't obvious.
Before. Karr also wrote that he was in love with JonBenet and confessed to hitting her in the head with a flashlight. In one of Karr's emails to Tracy, he went into detail of how he killed her.
Kind of sounds like this guy did.
Okay, but however, his DNA did not match the DNA found on her long johns from the crime scene. Karr also said that he didn't act alone in this case. So a different person he was with could have done that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I feel like it makes sense for there to be more than one person.
After Karr's statements had been publicized, Mary Lacey, a Boulder County district attorney, apologized to the Ramsey family and issued a formal apology to John. At one point, she quoted, "No one in the Ramsey family is considered a suspect," unquote. Yeah, I don't know why, because there's not enough evidence to convict them, but there also isn't
enough to rule them out.
No. Now for our third suspect out of the family. Gary Oliva was a neighbor of the Ramsey family. In 2016, he was arrested for child pornography, and in 2011, he faced unrelated drug charges. See, if someone was on drugs when they did this situation, you know, it could possibly make sense as to why things don't add up, because their mind could have been completely gone.
But also, you'd think that if someone was on drugs and their mind, like, they weren't mentally there enough to, like, not have all these weird, like, what's the word, contradicting things happened, like, how did they get away with it?
Upon his arrest, a picture of JonBenet was found in Oliva's backpack.
Well, like, okay, what
Yeah.
was it, like, a picture of her that he just had, or was it, like, a newspaper clipping?
Oh, I have no idea. It didn't say.
Because I feel like that could, probably not, but it could be explained away.
Yeah, but it's kind of suspicious.
Not that I'm defending.
Okay, so all of them apparently are talking to the Denver Post because Oliva stated, "JonBenet's murder touched me very deeply. I felt she was an exceptional girl whose death was an exceptional loss. I felt the need to build a monument, a shrine, to remember this little girl." Isn't that icky?
All of these people, they start out seeming like they have good intentions, and they're just, like, praising this little girl for, like, being, like, a role model. And then at the end, it just, something doesn't add up.
Michael Vale, a friend of Oliva, said that Oliva called him a day after the murder of JonBenet and said, "I hurt a little girl. I hurt a little girl." This was stated in Touch magazine. Within the phone call from Oliva to Vale, he also told Vale that this had happened in Boulder, Colorado, and then he hung up. No other girl was found to have been harmed that night. The same strangulation method of JonBenet had been used by Oliva on his own mother with a telephone cord. On to our final suspect, Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell is the wife of Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein has... Yes, there are many documentaries, many videos, many articles about this man, because he is a monster. He has homes all over the United States. There have been thousands of reported cases of him luring young girls into his house. Often these girls are greeted by his wife, Ghislaine Maxwell. One of the last photos taken of JonBenet Ramsey had Ghislaine Maxwell in the background. They have been known to buy themselves out of situations.
Oh.
So
yeah,
that
might,
could be
like,
why
turn
the
it around
police didn't take a very good...
Yeah, they weren't very careful.
No. Well, I guess that's it.
Yep, our conclusion is, I don't know, man.
Okay, bye! Wait, come back next week, if you're still here. If you're still...
No one's still here.
They're all...
Let's be honest.
They've all disappeared. Without a trace.
Okay.
Bye!
Bye!